June 1944, dawn over the English Channel. A low mist clings to the water like a shroud, broken only by the silver glint of 1,000 aluminum wings climbing east. The air smells of salt, high-octane fuel, and the faint copper of fear. In the cockpit of a Messerschmitt Bf 109G6, Oberleutnant Erich Hartmann grips the control column, his gloved fingers white against black leather. Below, the invasion fleets still steam toward Normandy. Above, the first wave of P-51 Mustangs slices through the cloud deck, their drop tanks catching the sun like polished coins. For 4 years, the Luftwaffe had ruled these skies. From the chalk cliffs of Dover to the steppes beyond Stalingrad, the yellow-nosed fighters of Jagdgeschwader 26 had carved their legend in contrails and burning Spitfires. Pilots spoke of the Channel Front, with the casual arrogance of men who believed the war would end in London, not Berlin. Reichsmarschall Goering had promised them a 1,000-year sky. The Führer had assured them the American was a mongrel nation of shopkeepers and jazz musicians, incapable of forging a weapon to match the precision of German steel. They expected soft-bellied bombers lumbering unescorted, ripe for the plucking. They expected another Poland, another France, quick, surgical, decisive. What they met instead was the Mustang, records from the 8th Fighter Command, declassified in 1953, tell the arithmetic of terror with cold exactitude. Between January and June 1944, the Luftwaffe lost 2,271 fighters over the Reich, more than half its operational strength. On a single day, 7th of March 1944, the first deep penetration escort to Berlin claimed 81 German aircraft for the loss of 11 Mustangs. Oberstleutnant Egon Meyer, commander of JG-2 and holder of 102 victories, radioed his wingmen as the long-nosed Americans closed. Achtung! Jäger mit Zusatztanks! Sie sind überall! His voice, preserved on a captured frequency tape now archived at the Imperial War Museum, cracks on the final syllable. Meyer would die 3 days later, his FW-190 torn apart by a P-51B, piloted by Lieutenant Charles E. Yeager. The transformation began in the mind before it registered in the logbooks. German pilots who once hunted in packs now flew with eyes fixed on fuel gauges. The Mustang's range, 1,650 miles with drop tanks, meant the hunter could become the hunted anywhere from the Dutch coast to the outskirts of Munich. A preserved diary entry from Lieutenant Heinz Knocke, recovered near Wunstorf in 1945, reads, "We took off believing we defended the fatherland. We landed counting the minutes until the Amos returned. The sky is no longer ours. It is a highway they patrol at will." Knocke's final mission ended on 15th of August 1944, when Captain Chuck Yeager's 50 caliber rounds shredded his cockpit over the Ardennes. Throughout the script, the recurring symbol is the drop tank, those sleek, silver teardrops that hang beneath Mustang wings like the promise of endless horizon. To the American pilots, they are simply beer cans, disposable aluminum filled with 75 gallons of 100-octane democracy. To the Germans, they become totems of humiliation. Every glint on the radar scope announces that the enemy can loiter, can choose the moment of attack, can refuse combat and return tomorrow. A captured interrogation report from Oberleutnant Walter Schuck, dated 12th of September 1944, quotes him staring at a salvaged P-51 tank. "We measured our war in kilometers of sky we could still claim. They measured theirs in oceans they no longer needed to cross. By October 1944, the psychological fracture was complete. Luftwaffe training directives, stamped Geheim and filed under OKL LW Führungsstab Ich, ordered new pilots to avoid combat with P-51 formations at all costs, and to conserve fuel for defensive interception only. The language is bureaucratic, but the subtext is surrender. Veterans who once bragged of 20 kills now spoke in whispers of the Langstreckenjäger, the long-range hunter that turned the Reich into a shooting gallery. In the mess halls of Achmer and Twente, the clatter of cutlery fell silent when a distant rumble announced another wave of silver escorts shepherding the heavies toward Ploiești or Schweinfurt. Men who had cheered the fall of Paris now stared at their plates. counting the dwindling grams of ersatz butter as if ration cards could armor them against the mathematics of attrition. The epilogue belongs to the sky itself. On 24 April 1945, Captain Hubert Zemke led the 479th Fighter Group on a freelance sweep over Prague. His after-action report notes 28 locomotives destroyed, 115 freight cars, and not a single Luftwaffe interceptor sighted. In the silence that followed, Zemke banked south, jettisoned his empty drop tanks over the Bohemian forest, and watched them tumble earthward like spent cartridges from a war already won. Somewhere below, a farmer would find one, shiny, unscarred, filled with nothing but the echo of American abundance. He would turn it into a rain barrel or a child's sled, and in that repurposing, the larger truth would settle. The Mustang did not merely outfly the Messerschmitt, it outlasted the ideology that built it. Freedom, like high-octane fuel, is measured not in the fury of its burn, but in the distance it allows the human spirit to travel before the tank runs dry.